Bonjour, today we are going to look at prepositions like on, in, next to, and so on. Okay, let's have a look at some very simple prepositions and try to put them into actions, as in giving you some examples about how to use them. Now, let's have a look at this one. Sur, and sur means on top or on top of as well. Sur. And another one, sous. Under. Sous. Under. Okay? Sous. Now I know that you're going to say, hold on a minute, sur and sous sound the same, but they don't. Okay? Now sur, look at my mouth, sur, and sous is much, much shorter. Sur, sous. Okay? Sur, sous. Okay? Try it, try it. Yeah, well done. Sur, sous. Well done. Sur on top, sous under. À côté de, next to. À côté de. Can you say that? À côté de. And do that. À côté de. Next to. Okay? Dans. That's in. Dans. We don't say dans, by the way. Dans. Okay? Devant. That's in front. Devant. And derrière. Ouch. Derrière. Devant, in front. Derrière, behind. Okay? Now let's have a look at it again. Do it with me, and why don't you do the gesture with me? Here we go. Sur. Très bien. Do it. Nobody's watching. Très bien. Sous. Très bien. À côté de. Bravo. Dans. That's in. Dans. Devant. Bravo. Derrière. Très bien. Okay. So obviously you will need to watch this video again to get used to these prepositions. Okay. But let's have a look at a little game here. You see the cat here? Okay. Now, le chat, we call it. Okay. I'm going to ask you, where is the cat? And you will have to answer in the French sentence, saying, for example, the cat is behind the box. Okay. Now, le chat is the cat. La boîte is the box. Okay. Here's the question. Où est le chat? Now, think of the prepositions. You've got the prepositions written here. Which one of them are you going to use? Où est le chat? That's right. Le chat est sur la boîte. The cat is on top of the box. Okay? Well done. Here's another one. Ding! Où est le chat? Where is the cat? Now look carefully. Is it sur? Is it sous? Is it dans? Is it à côté de? It is à côté de. Le chat est à côté de la boîte. The cat is next to the box. Okay, le chat est à côté de la boîte. Now here's another one. Où est le chat? Yes, well done. Bravo you. Le chat est dans la boîte. The cat is inside the box or in the box. Le chat est dans la boîte. Here's another one. Où est le chat? It's not sur. It's not dans. It's not à côté de. It is sous la boîte. Under the box. So you would say, le chat est sous la boîte. Well done you. Bravo. Le chat est sous la boîte. Okay. Now here's another one. Où est le chat? Devant. Le chat est devant la boîte. Le chat est devant la boîte. Okay? And here's the last one. Où est le chat? Très bien. Le chat est derrière la boîte. Le chat est derrière la boîte. Okay? Now, it's just a matter of habit, okay? And once you know these prepositions, you can make lots of different sentences, which I would love to see in your examples. For example, you could say, actually, have a look at this image, and can you describe where the cat is? Using everything, the table, using the mouse, using the box. Well, this is what I would say. Le chat est sur la table, dans la cuisine, à côté de la souris qui est devant la boîte. Now, I know it's a long sentence. You think, oh no, I'm not able to do that. But you are. Okay, so look how simple this sentence is. The cat is on the table in the kitchen next to the mouse who is or which is in front of the box. Okay, that's easy. Okay, now what I'd like to do now is for you to make you use your own sentence using the preposition, the simple prepositions we have just seen. Can you do that? Yes, you can. Well done, you. Okay, that's it for me. Hope you enjoyed the lesson as much as I enjoyed teaching you today. That's it. Au revoir. À bientôt. Bisous, bisous. Next lesson. Oh, and next lesson will be everything on simple negations. So watch that. Bonjour. Today, let's have a look at simple negations, part 1. Okay, let's have a look at simple negation. Today, I'm going to concentrate on negations on using that we use with a present tense. How to say I don't do something or I am not, okay? Because the other part will cover the negations that we use in a passé composé, how to use negation in French with a passé composé, as in past tense, and in a question. You will see that it is quite tricky. But today, let's concentrate on simple negations using a present tense. It is slightly tricky, might not come naturally to you, and that's why you need to use it in a lot of examples. And that's my plan today, is to show you quite a few sentences, okay? So you get used to different situations. Okay. What you need to do, and remember we are doing simple negations here, is that it comes in two parts, okay? Ne pas, okay? Remember well, ne pas. As you see here, I left a gap between the ne and the pas. That gap is for the verb, okay? The verb, okay? So, for example, and I'm going to keep it very simple here, you want to say, I am not vegetarian, for example, okay? So let's start with what it is without a negation. I am vegetarian will be je suis végétarien. Je suis végétarien, okay? I am vegetarian. If you're a girl, végétarienne, obviously. Now, you want to use the simple negation, ne pas. Where do you put the ne? And where do you put the pas? Right. So here we go. It goes here. Je ne suis pas végétarien. And that means I am not vegetarian. Okay? So what I've done is very simple. I've put a ne before suis and pas after suis because we know that the verb is suis, to be here. Okay? So let's have a look at another example, not using I am, using I speak French. Je parle français. I speak French. But how do you say to someone, I don't speak French, using the simple negation adverb ne pas? Yes, you would say je ne parle pas. Très bien. Je ne parle pas français. I do not speak French. Okay, so remember that if you hear the word pas, it means not. Okay, it means not. Not necessarily no. Sometimes you won't hear the no. Okay, but you will definitely hear the pas, which means not. It doesn't mean non. No is non, but not is pas. Another example. Nous pouvons venir ce soir. Nous pouvons venir ce soir. Okay. Nous pouvons, we can, venir, to come, ce soir, tonight. We can come tonight. But we want to say, we can't come tonight. How are you going to do that? Okay, we cannot come tonight. Now remember, spot the verb first. The first verb conjugated is pouvons, which means we can. Okay, that's the verb you want, not venir. Okay, the main verb is pouvons. So, nous ne pouvons pas venir ce soir. Okay, we cannot come tonight. Nous ne pouvons pas venir ce soir. Okay, remember, venir here is not the main verb of that sentence. The conjugated verb is pouvons, pouvoir, to be able to. Now, another example. Je t'attends. Je t'attends. I am waiting for you. And the you here is the T, apostrophe. Je t'attends. I am waiting for you. Okay? But how do you say I am not waiting for you? Okay? Remember, it's so much simpler than in English. In French, it's always ne pas. Okay? You will notice that in English, you have different combination here. The don't and the cannot and the not, just only like that. Okay? In French, it's always ne pas. So you would say, je ne t'attends pas. Okay? Je ne t'attends pas. You keep t'attends together. Okay? Now, another example. Je mange des carottes. Now, I'm using this example because you will see what's going to happen. Je mange des carottes. I eat carrots. We are clear about that. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not sure whether you eat carrots. Voilà. Je mange des carottes. Now, how do you say I do not eat carrots? Remember what we said. Ne, verb, pas. Je ne mange pas de carottes. Okay? Je ne mange pas de carottes. Now, you will notice that we move the indefinite article de into a partitive article de. Sorry, we move the infinite article de into a partitive article de. Okay, and that's what I wanted to point out to you. Okay, when you're using a negation, you cannot use de after a negation ever. Okay, so je mange des carottes, je ne mange pas de carottes, and not je ne mange pas des carottes. Wrong. Okay, here's another example. Je marche dans les bois. I walk in the woods, and we want to say I do not walk in the woods. Je ne marche pas dans les bois. So that's it for my simple negation on using ne pas with the present tense. The next lesson will be all about using ne pas in the passé composé and in a question. This one is quite tricky, so watch that space. Anyway, bonjour, and let's have a look at simple negation part 2. Right, if you're unsure about how to use ne pas, please refer back to lesson 13 on simple negations. Today, I'm going to show you how to use ne pas in different ways, but not the same way as I told you in lesson 13. I'm going to show you that we can use it in a more difficult and more complex sentence, such as the passé composé. Now, the passé composé is the past tense. So, how do you put ne pas when using a passé composé in French is what I'd like to concentrate on now. Now, when I say passé composé, I mean, for example, j'ai mangé. Now, this means I have eaten, but it also means I ate, okay? And this is very important for you to know that, because when you want to put this into a negation, it is I have not eaten or I did not eat. Now, what you need to know, and I see how complex it might be for an English speaker to try to think, okay, I want to say I didn't eat. How am I going to do that in French? Now, I know it's ne pas, but how did I say I didn't eat? In order to be able to do that, you need to know how to say I have eaten first, okay? Don't try to translate I ate. It doesn't work in French. Try to translate I have eaten. Only when you know how to say I have eaten would you be able to say I didn't eat, if that makes sense, or I have not eaten, because to us French people, it's exactly the same thing. Okay, so I'm going to tell you how to do that. So using j'ai mangé, I have eaten, but it also means I ate. Okay, bear that in mind. We have the negation adverbs ne pas. Okay, remember the simple negation part 1, we learned that ne comes before the verb and pas after the verb. Well, when you use a passé composé, when it has different parts to it, such as an auxiliary verb, in this case to have, and a past participle, ne comes before the auxiliary verb and pas comes after the auxiliary verb. In that case, j'ai mangé, the auxiliary verb, can you have a look, is ai. So you put ne before. So it becomes je. We put the e back into the je, okay, because it has no longer got a vowel afterwards. So je n'ai pas mangé. Okay, and that means I have not eaten, but it also means I did not eat. Okay, so you've got to be very careful with this one. It's not hard. Well, it's quite tough to grasp, actually. I can see why, because we don't have such a thing as I didn't eat in French. Yeah, we have I have not eaten. And you need to put that first into your head before you can even manage to use the negation in the passé composé. Okay, so have a look at the reason why I have put N apostrophe, je n'ai pas mangé. It's because A begins with a vowel, so we drop the E of ne, quite simply, the same way as we do that with the je, I. We drop the E of je, j'ai mangé, okay, instead of saying je ai mangé, okay. You wouldn't say je ne ai pas mangé. Doesn't sound good at all, so we make it we make it sound better, if you wish, okay. So, je n'ai pas mangé, and you could add bananas, de bananes, okay? Like we saw in the first section of simple negation, you said ne pas manger de quelque chose and not des, okay? So, je n'ai pas mangé de bananes. Now, if you wanted to say, I walked in the forest, you would say, j'ai marché dans la forêt, but you want to say, I didn't walk, okay? Remember, you want to say, I have not walked, yeah? So first of all, I have walked. J'ai marché, okay? And I didn't walk or have not walked. Je n'ai pas marché dans la forêt, okay? So the pattern is the same always when you use a passé composé. Whether it's a first group verb, second, third group verb, always the same. Now let's have a look at another passé composé using the auxiliary verb to be. Je suis allé en France le mois dernier. Je suis allé means I went, okay? We are using a past tense with the auxiliary to be, not j'ai, but je suis. Now how do you say I did not go, or I have not gone, in effect, okay? So how do you say I didn't go? Simple. Ne comes before the auxiliary and pas comes after. So, je ne suis pas allé, well done, en France le mois dernier. Le mois dernier being last month, okay? Right, so that's pretty much it. I mean, that's all you need to know of how to use ne pas using the passé composé. And know that it will come useful to you, okay? But remember that Don't try to translate. I did not eat. I did not play. I did not walk. Okay? No. I have not eaten. I have not walked. I have not played, and so on. Now, another little thing I wanted to tell you about the ne pas negation, ne pas. It's most people, French people, tend not to pronounce the ne. Okay, so drop the ne, and if you wanted to say I am not vegetarian, you would say, instead of saying je ne suis pas végétarien, you would say je suis pas végétarien. And that sounds okay, wrong, but it's not for French people. So you would say je suis pas végétarien. But in fact, French people might say je suis pas végétarien. Je suis pas végétarien. Okay? So the je suis pas or je sais pas. I do not know. Je ne sais pas might become je sais pas. Okay? So be aware of that. Okay? We like to contract everything in one. Je ne sais pas become je sais pas. Okay? All you hear is the pas here. Okay? So if you wanted to say I don't speak French, je parle pas français. Okay? Je parle pas français. I have not eaten tonight. J'ai pas mangé ce soir instead of je n'ai pas mangé ce soir. Okay? Be aware of that most people, when they speak very quickly, will not pronounce the ne. Okay? Another way you can use ne pas, it's when you say do not disturb. Well, that is very interesting. You put ne pas together then, and you don't put the verb in the middle. So if you want to say an order, do not disturb, you would say ne pas déranger. Do not walk on the grass. Ne pas marcher sur la pelouse. Do not smoke. Ne pas fumer. Do not enter. Ne pas entrer. Is that clear? Good. I'm glad. That's it for me on negations part 2. Hopefully you enjoyed it and you learned a lot of things about negations. I would like to give you a new word today, but before I do that, please have a look at other videos related to my core lessons and so also my learnfrenchwithalexa.com website where I take you to the next level. Why don't you have a look at my Patreon website as well, page, not website, and where I ask you for your support. So the word of the day is hurluberlu. Hurluberlu. And do you know what that means? It means someone who is eccentric. Hurluberlu. That's it for me. Au revoir, bisous bisous, à bientôt. Remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel and leave a comment. Bye! Today, folks, bonjour, and let's have a look how to tell time in French. I've titled this lesson, Quelle heure est-il? What time is it? Okay, this is lesson 15, and I titled it, Telling the time, or Quelle heure est-il? What time is it? Now, this is the first part of 2 lessons, okay? I'm going to give it to you today the simplest way possible that we can give time in French, but it gets quite complicated. But that's not for this lesson right now. So, I'm going to start with the simplest of all. And how do you say it is 1 o'clock? Well, in French, you've got to do it like this. Il est, it is, il est une heure. It is 1 hour. Il est une heure. Have a look at that. And we don't say un, we say une, because heure is feminine. Okay? Now, if you wanted to say it is 2 o'clock, quite simply follow the same pattern. Il est 2 heures. It is 2 hours. Okay? Don't try to translate o'clock, it doesn't exist. Okay? Il est 2 heures. And so you've got it. Il est 3 heures. 4 heures, 5 heures, 6 heures, 7 heures, 8 heures, 9 heures, 10 heures, 11 heures. And when you reach 12 o'clock, well, if it's midday, you would say il est midi. Or Il est minuit if it's midnight. Okay, so that's the simplest way, okay, to do it. However, you've got to understand one thing, that in France, French people give time using the 24-hour clock. And that's where it becomes a little bit complicated for you out there, okay? Whereby in French, we wouldn't say it is 1 p.m., giving the information that the action takes place after noon, okay? We wouldn't do that, okay? Instead, we would say, il est 13 heures. So that means 13 o'clock, okay? Remember, it comes very naturally to a French person to give time using the 24-hour clock. And you've got to use it because if you make an appointment, if you anything that you would have to do over the phone, for example, you would have to give it to people in the 24-hour clock, okay? So 13 hours would be il est 13 heures, and that's 1 p.m. So if you wanted to say it is 2 p.m., using the 24-hour clock would be 14 heures. Okay, you've got to know your numbers in French here, okay, up to 24, actually. So, il est 14 heures. Il est 15 heures. Il est 16 heures. Il est 17 heures. Il est 18 heures. Il est 19 heures. Il est 20 heures. Il est 21 heures. Une, remember that heure is feminine. Il est 22 heures, and that's 10 p.m. Il est 23 heures, and then you would say it is midnight. You would say il est minuit. Minuit being midnight, but I've told you that before, haven't I? Right, okay, knowing that, and if you wanted to keep much simpler, because in part 2 of this lesson, which is not now, we will learn how to say quarter past, 10 to, 22, half past, and so on. It's not about it. It's not about this in this lesson, okay? In this lesson, I'm giving it to you the way you would simply give it, but where you would need to know numbers in French, okay? So, numbers up to 24 and numbers up to 55 are really important if you want to do it this way. If you wanted to say, for example, it is 10 to 3 p.m. Okay, let's have a look. 10 to 3 p.m. We don't know how to do it, okay, only other way, except than saying it is 2:50, okay? Are you following me here? Okay, 10 to 3 is 2:50, we agree. But in French, it would be 14:50 if it's in the afternoon, okay? So as to suppose 2h50 in the morning or 14h50 in the afternoon, okay? So that's where you need to know your numbers up to 55. So another example could be, I don't know, il est 18h25. Il est 18h25, okay? It's 25 past 6 p.m., okay? Il est 18h25, okay? So remember that you put the 18, the hour first, and then the minutes. The minutes, you've got to learn how to count up to 55 if you want to be able to do that. Now, why don't you have a look at my other video on numbers where I count from 0 to 100, and you will know how to know, you will know the numbers up to 55, okay? I'm going to stick this lesson keep it quite short, okay? Because part 2 would be all about quarter past and half past and 10 to and things like that. But I just want it to be quite simple for this one. Now, here's your turn. What time is it? I'm going to show you a clock here, and you're going to tell me the time in French. Are you ready? Assuming at the moment that all the times are in the afternoon. Okay? Okay, here we go. Quelle heure est-il? Think. Now, the little hand is on the 5 and the big hand is on the 12. Quelle heure est-il? That's right. Il est 17 heures. Il est 17 heures. Okay? It is 17 hours, as in it is 5 p.m. You could, if it was in the morning, say il est 5 heures du matin, in the morning. And that's the thing as well. A French person that is not using the 24-hour clock will precise in which day it is in the day. So if you wanted to say it is 10 o'clock in the evening, you would say il est 10 heures du soir. Il est 10 heures du matin, if it was in the morning. Okay? You've got to be precise for a French person. Okay? Another one here. What time is it here? Now think. I want it in a 24-hour clock and it's a PM time. That's right. Il est 14 heures. Il est 14 heures. Okay? Now it is 2 p.m. Il est 14 heures. If it was a morning time, it would be il est 2 heures. Okay. Here is another one. Now you need to know your numbers for this one. Give it to me in the 24-hour clock, remember. Okay. Il est 16h35. Okay. Il est 16h35. It is 4:35 p.m. Okay. Il est 16h35. That's a tough one. Have a look at this one. Très bien. Okay, do you need more time to count in your head, really? Il est 20h50. Il est 20h50. Okay, obviously it's 8:50 p.m. We could say if it was in the morning, 8h50, but it's not. It's a 24-hour clock. Remember, all our times are p.m. In my examples, obviously, not in French in general. Okay? Now, I know what you're going to say here, but I want to say it's 10 to 9, but we are not learning that at the moment, are we? I did say. Now, I would like you to do this little exercise for me. Every time you look at your clock or you watch, why don't you try to give it to me in French or give it to yourself, okay? Or to people. You know, if someone say, what time is it, Papa? Or what time is it, Maman? Give it to them in French. Do you think you can do that for me? Okay, remember to learn your numbers by heart if you want to do this. That's it for me on lesson 15 of What Time Is It? Quelle heure est-il? Part 2 is coming up soon. It's slightly more complicated. Hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed teaching you. Okay, now remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you have not done so already. And why don't you have a look at my website, learnfrenchwithalexa.com, where I take these kind of lessons to the next level. Okay? That's it for me. Au revoir, à bientôt. Bisous, bisous. Bye bye. Au revoir. Quelle heure est-il? I'm hungry. Il est quelle heure? Quelle heure est-il? J'ai faim. Bonjour, let's have a look at Quelle heure est-il? What time is it? Part 2. That's right. We are going to have a look at the second part of how to tell the time in French. Now, if you have not done so already, please have a look at how to tell the times part 1, okay? And this is lesson 15, okay? It's very important because this one here is going to be slightly more complicated. I am going to teach you how to say quarter past, quarter to, half past, but also how you would say 10 past and 10 to, for example. Okay, so it's a slightly more complex lesson. Are you ready? Because that's going to be complicated. Right, okay. Now, telling the time in French is a little tricky. What I'd like to start with is by just simply telling you how to say half past, okay? Now, half past in French is et demi. Et demi, okay? So, and half, et demi. So, if you wanted to say it is 3:30, you would start with the hour, trois, and then add 3:30. Okay, so instead of saying 3:30, you would say 3:30. Okay, and that's what you have to get here first, okay, to get used to the fact that we are giving the hour first and then the minute comes after. So, 3:30. Quelle heure est-il? Il est 3:30. Okay, it is 3:30 as in 3:30. Okay, so il est 2:30. Il est 4:30. And so on. Okay, you wouldn't properly say il est 16:30. You would, I suppose it works. Il est 3:30, 15:30. I think it's better to say il est 15:30. It's 15:30, like we saw in part 1 of this lesson. Sorry. Okay, il est 16h30, il est 17h30. Okay, but if you wanted to say and half as in et demi, you would say il est 2h30, il est 3h30, il est 4h30. Okay, so and half. Now, consider and half. How would you say it is 15:15? Well, it's the same principle. Instead of saying and a half, you would say and a quarter. So we'd say et quart. Have a look at quart and not quart. Quart. Okay. Et quart. Same principle. Il est 2h15. 2:15. Il est 3h15. Il est 4h15. Il est 10h15. Il est 11h15. Okay? And all you have to do here is add a quarter. Okay? Alternatively, you could say il est 14h15. Okay, that's 14:15. Il est 15h15. Just the way I taught you in part 1 of this lesson. Okay? Now, how would you say 1:45? So, you want to say it is 1:45. Okay? This one is tricky. It's very tricky because the way you do that, you take the hour, okay, 1 heure, which is 1, okay, and you minus the quarter, okay, because it's quarter towards 1 o'clock. We say it's 1 o'clock minus a quarter in French. Ah! Okay, so this works this way. Il est 1 heure moins le quart. Il est 1 heure moins le quart. Okay? Il est 1 heure moins le quart, and that means it's 1:45. That, I think if you're not used to telling the time this way, it might be quite a challenge. Do you know what? 1:45 is 12:45. So why don't you say il est 12h45, if that makes it easier. Okay? Up to you. So, for example, if you wanted to say it is 3:45, how would you do that? Now, remember the time, the hour comes first. First. Il est 4 heures, okay, it's 4 o'clock, minus 15 minutes, minus a quarter, so moins le quart. Il est 4 heures moins le quart. Okay, so to recap very quickly, and a half is et demi, the hour, et demi. A quarter past would be the hour et quart, and a quarter. Now, 1:45 would be the hour minus, so moins le quart. Okay? Moins le quart. Does it make sense to you? Yes? Can we carry on? Okay. Now, you're going to tell me, okay, we've learned that, that's really hard, or might forget about it in 10 minutes, but it doesn't matter because guess what? You can watch this video again. Yes, you can. Now, how do you say it is 10 past 11? Okay, now we are learning how to say 10 past, 20 past, 25 past, and so on. Then the way you do that is quite simply. You would say the hour first, which is 11, and then you would tell me the number of minutes. So, il est 11h10. Quite simply. Okay, it's 11:10. Okay, il est 11h10. Okay, you wouldn't here say et 10, would you? No, You wouldn't say et 20, 11h20. You wouldn't say that. So you would quite simply say il est 11h20 if it was 20 past 11. Okay? Now, so you will need to put the hour, then the minutes, remember. So 20 past 2 would be what? 20 past 2. Yeah, it would be 2:20, wouldn't it? So you would say, il est 2h20. Quite simply, il est 2h20. Okay? Now that's a tricky one, but not as tricky as the 22, the hours. Okay, now we've seen this, which is past the hours, okay? But what happens when you want to say it is 20 to 2, for example? It is 20 to 2. The way you're going to do that is a bit like the minus a quarter thing. You're going to use the word minus, which is moins. So, it is 20 to 2 will be il est 2h minus 20 moins 20. Okay, il est 2h moins 20. Okay, that's, I mean, I realize that as I am teaching you this, how complex it is, okay, because of the different ways we have to tell times, okay. Please choose the one that is better for you. I personally think that if you wanted to say 20 to 2, you might want to say 1:40. So, quite easy, 1h40 might be your best bet here, okay. But again, you might want the challenge. I don't know. Whatever, rock your boat. No, rocks your boat. What is the expression? Whatever rocks your boat?
Boat, one boat.
Oh, boat. Rocks your boat. Anyway, so if you wanted to say it is 25 to 3, how would you do that? Yeah, okay, so 25 to 3 will be 3 o'clock minus 25 minutes, okay? So, start with 3. Il est 3 heures, and then minus it, moins 25, okay? Il est 3 heures moins 25, okay? It's 25 to 3, okay? Equally, you could say 2:35. Il est 2h35, okay? If you're counting in the 24-hour clock, il est 14h35. Am I speaking too fast here? I've just realized that maybe it might be too much. No? Okay. Now, we have learned how to say 10 past and 22 or 10 to, okay? Remember that 10 to would be the hour moins 10 minus 10, okay? We have seen how to say and quarter, écart for quarter past. We have seen how to say quarter to, so moins le quart. Okay, we've seen how to say half past et demi. Okay, and we've seen how to say 10 to, which is moins 10, or 10 past, which is the hour and 10 minutes. Okay, remember well all these things, but like I said a minute ago, please do it the way suits you best. Okay, now it is your turn. I'm going to show you a clock. I would like you to tell me what time it is. Quelle heure est-il? What time is it now? So as you said, 6:30. Okay, it could be a 24-hour clock or not. Très bien. Il est 6h30. It is 6:30 or half past 6. Also in English. Il est 6h30. Okay? Or you could say 6h30. Alternatively, if it's a 24-hour clock, you would say 18:30. 18h30. Okay? Have a look at this clock. What time is it? Quelle heure est-il? So we can see it's 3:15. Okay, 3:15. How would you say that in French? Yes, absolutely. Remember that quarter past is and a quarter and the time first. So, il est 3h15. Il est 3h15. 15h15. Alternatively, you could say il est 15h15, okay? Have a look at this one. What time is it? Is it? It is. Is it? Quelle heure est-il? It is 22:05, okay? Or 4:40. What is it in French? Remember, hour first, 5 heures, and then minus it by the minute. So, il est 5h moins 20. Okay, so it's 5 and minus 20 minutes because it's not quite 5 o'clock yet. Okay, so il est 5h moins 20. Okay, well done you. And to finish, what time is it? Now, quelle heure est-il maintenant? Il est, well done, 10h moins le quart. Il est 10h moins le quart. Again, it is 9:45. In French, we say it's 10 minus 15 minutes. So, il est 10h minus moins le quart. Okay? Alternatively, you could say, il est 9h45. Okay? 9:45. Okay, now I understand that this lesson, and that's why I split the two lessons into here, are very, very hard. I'm going to give you a little exercise here. How do you say in French, it is 3:15? Okay, I'm not going to give you the answer to that because you're going to write a comment and let me know how to say that in French on one of the comments for this lesson. So, how do you say it is 3:15? Okay, that's my little exercise for you. Try to work this one out. If you're unsure, why don't you watch this video again? Okay, that's it for me on telling the time or quelle heure est-il. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope you learned. Okay, have a look at it again. I understand it is quite complex. Okay, and like I said before, it is up to you the way you choose to tell time. Doesn't matter as long as it makes sense to you. Okay, remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel and also have a look at learnfrenchwithalexa.com where I take your French to the next level. That's it for me. Au revoir. À bientôt. Bisous. Today, folks, let's have a look at French accents, okay? As in the little dash that you put on top of the E and the A and the I and so on, and not as in the French accent. What I'd like you to do is have a look at the accents we have in French. Well, we have a few, okay, but I'd like to concentrate on 2 accents today, okay? So that's why I've titled The French Accent Part 1. Okay, let's have a look. Now, as you may be familiar when you read French, you may have noticed that on top of the E, you have a little dash. Okay, this is called an accent. Okay, an accent. And you may have noticed as well that sometimes it goes one way and sometimes it goes the other way. Okay, well, it has a purpose. Okay, it means something. So if you see it, you need to write it properly. Okay, and you need to read it properly too. Because the reason why they are on top of the E would be to change the sound, okay? Let's concentrate on the accent aigu or acute accent and not acute accent, by the way. Now, the accent aigu looks like this. Ding! Okay, now it looks like this. It has an E and a dash, okay? That goes from the left up to the right. Now, the accent aigu has this sound. E. E. Can you say that? E. Okay? Now, you will find the accent aigu in words such as le bébé, the baby. Le bébé. Okay? Or you could find it in l'été. L'été. And that's the summer. L'été. You could find it in le café. Le café. Or l'épaule. And that's the shoulder. L'épaule. Okay? You can find it in poésie, poésie, okay? And that's poetry. And you have also, look at this one, it has a double accent aigu, créer, créer, and that means created, okay? Créer. So you can have two with an accent aigu next to each other, okay? So that is my first accent, the accent aigu, the one that everybody knows as long as you know how to pronounce it, which is E. Now, what is the other accent I'd like to teach you today? Remember, there are few, okay, but I'm concentrating on these two today. Well, you have the accent grave or grave accent, okay? The accent grave is the other direction. So it starts from the right and go towards the left, okay? The accent grave is E, E. Now, if you compare E and E, two different sounds, okay? E and E. So the accent grave is E. Now, you will also find the accent grave on the A, which is a, and a U, which is a U as well. So watch out for that. But the A and the U sound will not change if you have the accent grave, okay? But it will change if you put it on the E, if that is clear. Now you will find the accent grave on words such as le frère, that's the brother. Le père, that's the father. La mère, that's the mother. You will find it also on très, which is very, très, très. You would find it on crème, which is the cream, okay? Crème, okay? You will find it on a, which is an a with this accent, which means it doesn't, it means at, okay, or to, okay? Or you would find it on ou, O-U accent. Now watch out here because, and it tells you that two words of same sound, okay, we call them homonyme, I think, homonyme, yeah, that means two different things. So the ou, where you have an accent grave on top of the u means where, that means where is it, and the ou, where there is no accent grave means or, okay, or coffee or milk, for example, okay, café ou lait, okay. So what you need to know that sometimes you can find the two accents in the same word, so one accent aigu and one accent grave, and you need to take that in consideration because the sound change then, okay. So you will find that in the common noun, the proper noun, sorry, Helen. Now Helen in French is Hélène, Hélène. Now have a look at that. E, accent aigu, len, n, accent grave, okay? You will find also this word in élève, élève, the two sounds, two different sounds, but yet we are using an E every time. So élève means pupils, okay? Pupil, okay? Éphémère, éphémère, which means ephemeral. Do you say ephemeral, Adam? Which means which doesn't last. It's éphémère. You will find that there are two accents aigus and then suddenly an accent grave. Éphémère. Okay, I'm changing the sound here. Another one, légère. That means light. Okay, feminine word. Légère here in that case. You will find it in déjà. Déjà. Already. Have a look. There is an accent aigu on the E and an accent grave on the A. Déjà. Or you will find it on décès, décès, which means deceased or it's death in effect, okay, le décès, okay? So, what I'd like to finish now, and a little recap, okay, before I do that, is that we have two accents, main accents. Remember, this is part 1, and there is another lesson coming up on other accents. You will find the accent aigu, okay, which is this one, and we pronounce it E. And you will find the accent grave, which is this one, and we pronounce it E, okay, which you will find also on the A and the U, but the pronunciation does not change, okay. Let's have a look at this sentence, which I've just made up, which is mad, I tell you, but hey, it shows you the use of accents. Here we are. En été, le père du bébé boit du café avec de la crème légère avec son élève nommé Hélène. Ils écrivent des poèmes. Now, this is a bit mad, but have a look. En été, can you read with me? No, seriously, can you? Okay, thanks. En été, well done. Le père du bébé boit du café avec de la crème légère avec son élève nommé Hélène. Ils écrivent des poèmes. Okay, now I'm just showing you that we have different sounds if you put a different accent on top of the E. Now, en été, in the summer, le père du bébé, the father of the baby, boit du café, drinks coffee, avec de la crème légère, with light cream, avec son élève nommé Hélène, with his pupil called Helen. Ils écrivent des poèmes, and they write poetry or poems together, ensemble, together. Okay? So, I hope this first lesson on accent was useful to you and you've always wondered what this accent meant. Well, there you are. I've tried to explain you as clearly as possible and I hope I have done just that. Remember, if there is no accent, the sound will remain That's it for me. Remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel and have a look at the other lessons numbered. They're really cool. And why don't you have a look at my website, learnfrenchwithalexa.com, where I teach you with lots and lots and lots of material. And I teach you French and take the French to a higher level. Okay? And I have a Patreon page as well. Have a look at the Patreon page. That's it for me. Au revoir. Bisous, bisous.